Hey, there he is. I'm here, Mike. I'm just
I hear you.
adjusting. I'm adjusting the camera there. All right, cool. What's up, buddy?
Not too much. How are you?
I'm good. You look like you're in some sort of like Japanese spa or something.
I'm in my yoga meditation room in my basement.
Oh man, see, everybody needs one of those, man.
It's, hold on. I'll give you a quick tour. I don't have the
Yeah.
ceiling done yet, but we got little Buddha action going
Oh
on,
man.
right? Then we got the sauna over there. We got some nice green carpet and yoga mats.
Wow, man.
Yeah, that was my
Co
uh, that was my late winter project getting this done.
Dude, I am super jealous. I'm not gonna lie.
Well,
Do you have coffee in your yoga meditation studio?
do I have coffee? What kind of question is that?
I mean, come on now, it's coffee talk, right? You have to. You have to.
It is
Um,
coffee time.
what is it? Espresso? Espresso longo this time, or are we just
That's
straight
just
up coffee?
an iced Americano today.
You always have such fancy coffee.
It's
Mine's
it
just coffee. Mine's
well
coffee.
basically it's coffee. It's espresso with water and ice. That's
Yeah,
it.
it's coffee.
It's
It's coffee.
they call it the poor man's latte.
I like it. I like it. The man who can't afford milk. Um, all right, Mike. I think this topic is timely, my friend. Right
Is
before I
it?
right before I came in here, dude walks in. He goes, "I got shin splints, and I want you to check and see, if I can get a better shoe to help fix my shin splints." So
Oh yeah.
So I did, gait analysis, watch him walk, watch him run, kind of talk to him a little bit about shin splints, and then he's in the shoe that he's supposed to be in. So I had to tell him, dude, shoes ain't gonna fix your problem, bro. I'm sorry.
Right.
So I thought, we could talk a little bit about some things that might actually fix his problem. And sometimes shoes can help, but for this gentleman, unfortunately, not so much.
No. Shoes can help a lot depending on the cause. And
Hmm.
you guys being like the first avenue that most people take, especially for foot shin injuries, what's the first thing they say?
Hmm.
Oh, it must be the shoes.
It's got to be the shoes.
It's got to be the shoes. Wasn't that Mars Blackman, Michael Jordan days with the Air Jordans? It's got to be
It's
the
got to
shoes
be. It's
money.
got to be the shoes. It's got to be the
Um,
shoes.
yeah, everyone blames the shoes. So shoes aren't they are important, but they're not to blame for everything.
Right.
So kudos to you for checking it out and kind of checking that box, not the
Hmm.
shoes. And
Yeah.
then
And
you send
I, you
them
know,
up the road, and we'll take care of them.
I could have lied and sold him a shoe,
You could have,
but I didn't. Integrity right here.
and that's why I'm here talking to you and nobody else.
So what are shin splints, Mike? Come on,
All
help
right.
us out here, man.
So shin splints. Hold on, is my reception okay here?
I think you're good, man. I
All
think
right.
you're coming in crystal clear. I'm
All
just gonna
right.
slide my little camera over a little bit. But yeah, so what are they? What are shin splints?
So shin splints are a bucket term. Anyone that
Hmm.
has pain like in between the ankle and the knee will call it a shin splint. But
Hmm.
there's different levels of shin injuries or shin splints, if you want to call it that. So at
Yeah.
its most basic, um, a shin splint type of pain is usually some inflammation and overwork of the tendons, the muscles and tendons that control the foot and toes. They attach along the tibia and fibula in there. If they're overworked and they're strained, then they get a little inflamed, and they attach actually to the lining of the bone, so you can actually get some inflammation on the lining of the bone. So that would
Ah.
be, yeah, first level shin splint. It's an inflammatory overuse type of thing, and you got to address it.
Yep.
Sometimes just taking a day or two off, icing after your runs, a little self massage, proper warm up beforehand can do
Hmm.
wonders. Sometimes it's the shoes. Sometimes it's got to be treated in an office like ours.
Yep.
Second level of shin splint would be like a stress reaction. So that's
Okay.
when the lining of the bone actually starts to break down. So you're
Hmm.
not at a stress fracture yet, but that lining is not doing well because that constant pull from the tendon on the lining of the bone is a little too much.
Okay.
Same thing. You gotta. Unfortunately, his great thing about these types of injuries, they get better, but you need to shut it down for a certain amount of time,
Right.
or at least relatively shut it down. Give you a relative break, for lack of a better way of
Yeah.
describing it. Um, so if that goes untreated and people just try to run through the stress reaction, then it turns into a stress fracture, and that's when the lining of the bone actually starts to split. Now you got a different, whole new set of problems. That problem will,
Yeah.
yeah, the problem will get better, but that's not something you run through. I've actually met about two or three people who did run through stress fractures, but they're
Ugh.
like they're like they don't really exist. Those are like superheroes or
Yeah.
unicorns.
Did they run through it in that like they just were in excruciating pain and didn't like care?
Yeah,
Or was it just like
they didn't get.
they don't have feeling in their legs?
Probably a little of both. Those
Yeah.
people like that tend to have a really high pain tolerance, and they're
Hmm.
really mission focused and goal focused. So
Yeah.
they just kept running. But I guess they didn't keep increasing that load, so the body was able to heal, which is rare. Um,
Okay.
so shut it down. Same thing. Resting and icing at first. A lot therapy can help. We'll get into a little bit more of that in a second
Hmm.
on what we look for, what we can do, and causes of it. But the last level of a shin splint type of injury is a stress fracture. I mean, stress fracture, and keep running through that, you'll get a full fracture, which not many people do. That gets a little too painful.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
I've seen,
I'd shut it down at level one, if I'm honest.
right?
I'm a little bit
Well,
of a wuss when it comes to
no, man, you're not a wuss.
pain.
You're just a smart runner because the amount of shutdown and care and alteration you need for your running at that first level is minimal.
Right.
Stress fracture, depending on the bone and the person, 6 to 12 weeks. No running.
Yeah. No
Yeah.
runner wants to hear that, man.
No. So that's why when you get that, when your engine light's going on, that pain signal's there telling you something's going on in the shin, just get it checked out.
That's it, man. Do you
Yeah.
find, so we do like our beginning runner group here, and I find that a lot of times people who are either just starting running or they are maybe doing like a bit more than they used to do. That's kind of where the like when shin splints kind of pops up. So like either a beginner just starting out or kind of someone ramping up that mileage. Um, that seems to be when a lot of this happens.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you find
So,
that too?
yeah, a lot of running injuries. We call them the tutus. Remember we talked
Oh
about that?
yes, the tutus.
Yeah, you progress too soon. So the newer
Hmm.
runners are trying to do too much too soon,
Right.
too quickly, too fast, too hard, too much of anything. The stress, for whatever
Hmm.
reason, whether they just don't have the resiliency in the tissue to handle the running, or they just
Hmm.
pushed it too hard, too fast, too hard, too long, and they didn't build up tolerance in those tissues, so they can't tolerate it, and then they have this overload, and which leads to that whole shin splint, um, the whole different levels of shin splints depending on where they are.
Right.
So yeah,
Right.
yeah.
So, what are some things these folks can do? I mean, obviously, like gradually increasing your mileage. I know we talked about that like 10% rule. Um, that can be helpful. And then, like, if you're just starting out, doing like a run walk program can help kind of mitigate shin splints in that, like, you're building up tolerance, but you're not like stressing that tissue constantly by
Absolutely.
hurling yourself through the air. Um, so those are some ways to do it. Are there other ways that you can kind of like stop it in its tracks?
Yeah, you just got to figure out what the actual cause of it is. So,
Hmm.
as with most things, the where the area of the pain is, that doesn't necessarily mean that's where the problem is.
Yeah.
Sometimes it is, but like think about someone with a really flat foot. The
Hmm.
Alabama floor sucker that we've talked about a few
Oh, yes,
times.
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So if the arch is rolling in on the inside of the foot and they're really overstretched, there's three muscles that we just call them Tom, Dick, and Harry that go up the inside of the arch and up the medial side of the tibia, on the inside of the tibia. Those
Hmm.
are working like gangbusters to try to support the arch, and they can't because
Right.
the arch is too flattened and they're not strong enough. So it
Hmm.
doesn't mean that they absolutely have to be in a Brooks Beast or that they need an orthotic, but that
Hmm.
could be either a temporary or a permanent fix. But we
Yep.
need to strengthen the muscles in that group to make sure that they can hold that arch every time that foot hits the ground. Make sure that they can handle that. So
Yep.
that's one major reason we see for the shin splints on the inside of the tibia, and they have a
Yep.
fancy name for it. It's medial tibial stress syndrome. It's just shin splints on the inside.
Okay.
Um, and then you have people that get shin splints on the front, more of that tibialis anterior
Like
muscle.
on the outside there, kind
Yeah,
of
so like
front outside.
you got it.
Yeah.
And that could be a whole different reason. A lot of times we see that because someone's calf and soleus and Achilles complex on the back of the leg is actually really tight, which
Mm.
causes the muscle on the front of the shin to overwork to try to dorsiflex that foot up. Think about it as you're
Okay.
running and you're swinging your foot forward. If you have a
Hmm.
really tight calf and your foot wants to stay plantarflex, you're going to stub your toe in the ground. So we have to
Right.
work hard to get that toe up. So you get a overuse syndrome just trying to fight the tight muscle. It could be a tight ankle joint in there. So you got to figure out
Hmm.
exactly what it is. Okay. So at the most local, you could be overworking because you're weak. You could be overworking because there's a tight muscle and there's some imbalance that we can find pretty easy and can be
Hmm.
addressed pretty easily. Um, but then we've got work your way up the chain. So if you've got someone, wow, just go quiet in here. Did the noise just change? Oh, it's
Eh,
back. Hold on,
oh,
I get.
hey, what
Hold
is
on one
that?
second.
Is that like a sound machine?
No, that's my dehumidifier. I didn't even realize it was on.
Oh,
So,
hey, there you
hey,
go.
I'm back. Sorry
Hey,
if that was
what's
annoying in
up?
the background.
I didn't even notice it until you pointed it out, but
But
now it's silent.
it's a home noise. It's always there, so I don't even notice it.
Right,
Right?
it's like this fridge that's over like behind the camera here. Sometimes
You,
I unplug it, and when I forget to unplug it, like today, I don't know if you can hear it, but I can hear it, and it annoys me
right?
personally.
All
Um,
right.
but
Well, yeah.
anyway,
So sorry about that. I didn't
so
even
I
notice it, so it wasn't annoying.
that's okay. But I should, so when someone comes in and says like I got shin splints, I gotta fix it, I should be asking, where is it? Because that
Mm-hmm.
can kind of help me. So like if they're like I got it on the medial side, maybe they need a little bit more support in their shoes because they're
Maybe, yeah. So
maybe.
if you paint the whole picture, right? They've got a
Hmm.
flat foot. They don't appear to be super strong. They're
Hmm.
in a really flexible shoe, and the pain is on the inside. You remember, I think we've talked about in the past, like looking at their feet and just having them bend their knees and see if they overpronate or just doing some rotation. So as you
Hmm.
rotate one direction, like one foot pronates, the other one supinates, and then as you rotate your body in the other direction, these types of things happen. So
Hmm.
if you're doing a screen and you say, all right, there's a little too much pronation, they don't come out of pronation, they're in
Hmm.
the wrong shoe, and the pain is right in that medial spot, then obviously get a, I mean, I would make a referral for this person to get it checked just to make sure, but I would definitely
Yeah, yeah.
change the shoe right then and there because
Gotcha.
that could be the culprit. You know,
Cool.
and on the total opposite, we see people with high arches, really rigid ankles that get shin issues,
Hmm.
more just because they're not absorbing shock well, and it's just they got a brick foot, so the foot hitting the ground, it's just bam,
Yeah,
bam,
you
yeah,
need the shoe to do some work in the cushioning
yeah,
department.
and then that's when you work your magic and put them in the right cushioning shoe, right?
That's it.
Done.
Done.
Yeah.
So maybe not done. What are some things that folks can do after they've gotten these shin splints to like maybe getting a good shoe helps, but
Yep.
like exercises and stuff.
Yeah.
I'm sure you're gonna say the F word, foam rolling potentially.
Oh, that F word.
That F word.
I was gonna say, did I drop the other F word in one of these talks? I try
No,
not to.
no, no. Family friendly show.
All right, good. Because I just found out my niece watches the show every once in a while, so
All right.
I got to keep it
Yes,
PG. Yeah.
clean,
Yes,
clean.
hi Bethany, if you're watching. But anyway, so before I answer that really quickly, I was about to
Sure, sure.
talk about we see many people with super weak glutes that they can't keep their knee on top of their ankle. So they have a weak glute, so the knee kind of rolls in. So let's say this
Hmm.
is the inside, the ankle's here, their glute can't hold their knee, and so it drops in and it kind of forces that overpronation. So
Yeah.
that could be a cause. we've had many runners come in and went to other clinics and people just like massaging and doing treatments just for the foot and lower leg, and they could never get back to running. The shin pain never went away. Looking
Hmm.
higher up the chain, they were weak in the hip and pelvis. So,
Got
on that note, like, what can you do for it?
it. Mm.
First thing is, you got to just shut it down a little bit. Take a few days,
Yep.
some self massage, the foam rolling, which like something like this is
Hmm.
probably not the best to get into those muscles. I don't
Got
have it
it.
here, but like a lacrosse ball. You just get a
Oh, okay.
lacrosse ball. If you get two of them, you kind of put them on either side of the shin and you roll the two lacrosse balls up and down your shin. Yes, it's
It
not
sounds,
fun, but
it sounds
it
awful,
but it
but in a
gets
good
deep.
way.
Yeah, and it gets behind the tibia. Like something like this is not going to get there. It's just going to smack up against the tibia. So you need
Right.
something that's convex, that
Hmm.
can kind of roll behind the tibia. So that actually works a little bit better. One or two
Got it.
lacrosse balls back in there.
Okay.
If you need to ice because it's hot and it's flamed and it's really painful, do that. And then
Hmm.
as you return, maybe it's just 2 or 3 days off. If you're getting it at phase one, you're doing
Hmm.
some tissue work, and then it's a slow return to a walk run program. See how you do. If at that point you're
Hmm.
still not able to even do a walk run, then it's time to get it checked out.
Hmm.
But also things like keeping your all the muscles in your lower leg strong. So heel raises, toe raises, single leg balance work, just standing barefoot um, on the
Yep.
ground on one leg and the foot's wobbling around and you're trying to hold yourself up nice and tall. That's a lot
Hmm.
of work on the muscles inside and outside of the shin. And then getting the glutes strong. You know,
Squats, baby.
squats, lunges, more single leg work. Single leg work is
Hmm.
phenomenal for glutes. And
Hmm.
if I remember my running mechanics, you'd never run two legs when you run, right?
That's true.
If you are, we might have to talk to your coach.
You're you're power walking at that point, I think.
Yeah, yeah. If there's 2 feet on the ground, it's no longer a run.
That's it.
So that's why single leg strengthening is the goal of every runner. So you can't go right to a single leg squat or some of these single leg balance exercises. You need doing two legs
Hmm.
first, but get to the
Yep.
single leg because you'll work foot, you'll work balance, you'll work hips and pelvis more. It's great
Hmm.
activity.
Cool. I have a question for you.
Okay.
And I don't. So this guy came in, right? He's like a sales guy.
Yep.
He works for this company called Shin. I don't know if you've heard of it.
I have.
So it's like this little device that you put your foot in and you kind of like lift your toe up and it's got
Yep.
like resistance bands. And so you can like adjust the resistance of your toe.
Yeah.
Is this like a good thing? Is this a good tool
Yeah.
to help with shin splints, or is it kind of just like a gimmicky kind of deal?
It's actually a good tool, and I know it really well. I was actually in one of their commercials for it
Oh,
because,
cool.
yeah, and they made me a beautiful, like, I think it's like aluminum or stainless steel one with like our company name engraved in it. It was awesome. So yeah, to strengthen that dorsiflexion motion,
Hmm.
it's a great device, and they make a plastic one that's really affordable.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a one trick pony. It's phenomenal at strengthening dorsiflexion, which a lot of
Hmm.
shin splints can benefit from. A
Yeah.
lot of patients with shin splints can benefit from. So it's okay, and if you don't mind spending a few bucks for that one purpose, then do it. We have one in every
Gotcha.
office.
Oh,
Yeah,
cool. All
yeah,
right, sweet. So, because I always tell folks like, sometimes that can help, like just the like lifting your toe up, put your heel on the ground, lift your toe up, put the
yeah,
shin splint on there. You're really cranking on that muscle there.
yeah. So it's a way of adding resistance. If not, then you've got to like staple gun like elastic bands to the ground. You got to put weights on your toes or duct tape them to the front of your foot. It's hard to get extra resistance, or
Yeah.
you need someone to hold the band while your foot's out in front of you as you're pointing the foot up and down. So it's a very
Yeah.
easy and convenient way. And if you just keep it in your house, slip your foot in, bang out a couple sets, you're in and out of there, strengthening that motion in like 3.5 4 minutes. So it's good.
Got it. We
Yeah.
should say this coffee talk is brought to you by Shintech.
Should right. I'm sure they'd be happy about that.
They
I think
would, I'm
I
sure.
think I think Mwangi and I were both involved in one of their commercials.
Oh, yes, I remember that back in the
Yeah,
day. We
back in
still
the
have
day.
like a couple of them laying around here somewhere.
Yeah, yeah. It's a good device. you know, you can't really do much else with it, but for what you need, I mean, if you need that, it's a good device.
Cool.
Shin tech.
Um, any other tips for shin splints? Can I have a quick question before you answer that?
Okay.
Compression stuff. Yay, nay, does it help? We have like these socks. Some people ask about them. I always say it's kind of like if you think it works, it works. you know, one of
The
those
placebo
situations.
effect.
Yeah, but like, does
Yeah.
it actually do stuff?
Not for the type of shin issues we're talking about. You know, if people have like a circulation issue or they really build up a lot of waste products in those muscle groups because they're working, I guess
Mm-hmm.
that could help. I think a lot of it is just it feels good. Oh my shit,
Mm-hmm.
like anything. Some of those neoprene sleeves that people wear on their knees or on their elbows.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing wrong with it. I don't know if it's going to help, but if it feels good and you can continue to be active with it on there, go for it. You look
That's
kind of
it.
sporty with them, right?
Yeah, you look like you're really killing it out there, you know?
Well, you look like you know what you're doing.
Right. So I had this girl on my track team back in the day who got shin splints so bad that they like bruised up. Have you seen that? That's crazy to me.
Um, yeah, we've seen it. There's a lot of breakdown on the probably stress reactions happening at that point. Maybe even stress fracture.
Hmm.
Who knows? It's rare,
God,
but yeah, you can see it.
no, man. Look. Anyway,
Yeah.
um, I think I might
What
have to
else?
wrap this sucker up, Mike. I just
Do you
saw
do you,
some
do you
people.
have do you have a joke before we
Oh,
wrap it up?
geez, yeah. So I was I was talking to Christine the other day, right? She's
I'm
telling
already
me
laughing.
she she's telling me I got to get into shape, right? So she's like, a really good exercise to get in shape is a lunge. Um, and I think if I were to incorporate that exercise into my training, that
Yeah.
would be a huge step forward.
Yes, it would. That's
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 my
what
that's my joke.
I like that. That's one of my favorite dad jokes. I think we went to the
I,
same website. I saw that one too. So
Google
I don't know
dad
if you saw
jokes.
this one. If you saw this one, do you know why you can't hear psychologists going to the bathroom?
Jeez. Um, no, I don't.
Because the P is silent. Their P is silent, I should say. Yeah.
That is fantastic.
Yeah. All right. We'll have to save all the rest for another time.
Right. All right. Well, good episode today, Mike. Thanks for joining me.
Yeah.
And
Pleasure as always.
thanks, everyone, for tuning in. Hopefully, that helps with any shin splint issues you may
Yeah. If they got
have had.
if they got more Shin questions, just send them our way.
Yeah, direct message us or Mike, and we'll hopefully get you sorted.
Sounds good.
All right. We'll see you next
See you,
week, Mike.
folks. All right. Take
Bye.
care.